His little ratio of weight divided by height squared, what we now call BMI, was never meant to diagnose an individual person's health. It was a statistical tool to describe populations, period. What's up, you beautiful beasts? In this video, we're taking down the one number that doctors, insurance companies, and half the diet industry treat like gospel: BMI. Spoiler alert, it's crap. And I've got the history, the receipts, and the science to back it up. If you've ever been told that you're unhealthy because of this one-size-fits-none number, buckle up. We're about to take this outdated math problem to church. Let's get into it.
Disclaimer: Educate the Beast is a space for reflection, not prescription. I'm here to offer insight, spark curiosity, and explore the messy, beautiful layers of health, movement, food, and mindset. I'm not your doctor, and I would never pretend to know your body better than you do. I am an NASM certified personal trainer, certified nutritionist, and master neurotransformational results coach. So I do bring my training to the table, and I also believe curiosity is a superpower. That means I stay open, ask questions, and keep learning too. If something here resonates, take it with you. Do your research, ask questions, start conversations. Your care should reflect your story, your body, your values, and your becoming. You deserve support that's informed, compassionate, and made just for you.
The weird origin story of BMI. Let's rewind to the 1830s. Enter Adolf Quetelet, an astronomer, statistician, and all-around numbers guy from Belgium. But notice I didn't say doctor or health expert. That's because Quetelet wasn't trying to figure out who was healthy. He was obsessed with describing what he called l'homme moyen, or the average man. And by man, I literally mean men. White, European men. He wanted to figure out the ideal proportions of the human body, which already feels like the world's creepiest hobby. He even said, and I quote, "Everything differing from the average man's proportions and condition would constitute deformity and disease." His little ratio of weight divided by height squared, what we now call BMI, was never meant to diagnose an individual person's health. It was a statistical tool to describe populations, period. The Rebrand in 1972. Fast forward 140 years. Ancel Keys, famous nutrition researcher, takes Quetelet's math, tests a bunch of formulas, and says, you know what? This one's the best for predicting body fat in large groups. And then he calls it the body mass index in a 1972 paper. But here's the kicker. The study used 7,424 healthy men. No women, no diverse body types, no non-European data. So from day one, BMI wasn't even validated across the full human experience. But that didn't stop people from running with it like it was a health crystal ball. How it invaded doctors' offices. So how did this dusty old math formula become your doctor's favorite weapon of judgment? Cue 1998. I was 13. The National Institutes of Health, the NIH, decided to roll out new obesity guidelines. And with the quiet stroke of a bureaucratic pen, everything changed. They lowered the cutoff for overweight to a BMI of 25 and declared that anyone with a BMI of 30 or more was now officially obese. No new science, no public debate, just a number. And just like that, millions of people went to bed healthy and woke up overweight. Their bodies didn't change, and their habits didn't change. The rules did. Health became a game of numbers, and the goalposts moved overnight. Because apparently if you can't control public health outcomes, you can just reclassify people. So who was behind that decision? The panel was made up of 24 experts and 8 advisors from various fields, including clinical nutrition, physiology, psychology, and bariatric surgery. Yep. The final working group included members of the American Society for Bariatric Surgery, a field that directly benefits when more people get labeled as obese. The panel's chair, and I'm probably going to butcher this name, so forgive me, Dr. Xavier Pai Sunyer, would later go on to disclose financial relationships with pharmaceutical companies like Amylin, Arena, Novo Nordisk, etc., 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 all companies involved in obesity or diabetes drugs. To be clear, I didn't find any proof that any individual panelist personally profited from the cutoff change. But here's the thing. The original guideline documents never included conflict of interest disclosures. And back in 1998, when I was 13, that wasn't exactly standard practice. So we don't know if industry played a direct hand in shifting the definition of obesity, but we have no receipts to prove that they didn't. And when you're reclassifying millions of people with the stroke of a pen, The absence of transparency is its own red flag. Why did BMI catch on anyway? Because it's cheap, quick, and easy to slap on a chart. Doctors could calculate it in seconds, insurance companies could use it to set premiums and deny coverage, and nobody had to think about nuance. Never mind that it doesn't measure body fat, muscle mass, or whether you can run up a flight of stairs without dying. It's literally just height and weight. That's it. Why BMI is garbage? Here's the truth. BMI is a blunt instrument pretending to be precision medicine. It doesn't know the difference between a marathon runner with glutes of glory and someone who's never lifted more than a paper towel. Both could land in the overweight category because BMI doesn't measure muscle mass, and it doesn't measure body fat percentage, and it doesn't even care where your fat is stored, which, spoiler alert, matters a lot. There's a big difference between visceral fat, the kind that wraps around your organs and can increase health risks, and subcutaneous fat, the soft stuff under your skin that's less dangerous and it's pinchable. But BMI? Lump it all together. Same number, same label. It also completely ignores critical factors like age, sex, genetics, ethnicity, and hormonal shifts. A post-menopausal Latina woman, a 25-year-old white male CrossFitter, and a 70-year-old Southeast Asian man could all have the same exact BMI and wildly different health profiles. Even the American Medical Association, the AMA, yes, the people who help set the rules for doctors, finally admitted in 2023 that BMI cutoffs are based primarily on non-Hispanic white populations and don't account for gender or ethnicity. In plain speak, they're saying, yeah, this number might be kind of racist and wildly oversimplified. Translation? The very institutions that once rode hard for BMI are now backing away slowly like it's an ex they regret texting when they were drunk. The science that shattered the BMI illusion. All right, let's spill some actual science. Not wellness gossip, but peer-reviewed, journal-published facts. In 2013, a massive meta-analysis was published in JAMA. We're talking nearly 3 million people across 97 studies. And guess what it found? People in the overweight BMI range, 25 to 29.9, actually had lower all-cause mortality than those in the normal range. Yeah, you heard that right. Statistically speaking, being labeled overweight was linked to living longer. And even folks in class 1 obesity, which is a BMI between 30 and 34.9, didn't show an increased death risk compared to those in the normal BMI range. So the idea that higher BMI equals certain doom, not exactly holding up under scrutiny. And if you need more evidence that BMI isn't the universal truth it claims to be, consider this. The World Health Organization, the WHO, had to introduce entirely different BMI cutoffs for Asian populations because people in many Asian countries experience metabolic risk at lower BMIs than what's considered overweight by Western standards. So this idea that one number can define health across all races, sexes, ages, and body types, it's not just wrong, it's biologically ridiculous, Cheryl. What actually matters? Your health is not a math problem. It's a mosaic. Physical, emotional, hormonal, mental, metabolic, and relational. So what should we be looking at instead of this outdated height-weight equation? Well, start with what's actually measurable and meaningful. Waist to height ratio and waist circumference tell us more about internal fat risk than BMI ever will. Blood work like A1C, cholesterol, triglycerides, and inflammatory markers offer insights to how your body is functioning, not just how it looks. And cardiovascular fitness, strength, flexibility, and mobility show how well you can move, recover, and live your daily life. But it doesn't stop there. How well are you sleeping? How do you cope with stress? Are you connected to people who care about you? Are you feeling emotionally safe, nourished, and supported? Do you have a space to rest, recharge, and reset? BMI tells us none of that. It's one number pretending to speak for your whole story when your story is so much more complex, human, and powerful than that. So wrapping up, here's the truth. BMI is outdated, oversimplified, and quite frankly, it's lazy. It does not measure health. It measures math. And not even the good kind, like calculating how many tacos you can eat before a nap. It was invented before modern medicine, applied without nuance, and clung to because it's easy to slap into a chart. And again, doctors use it because it's fast. Insurance companies love it because it gives them a convenient excuse to charge you more or deny coverage. No questions asked. But your body? Your body's not basic. It's complex, dynamic, and worth way more than a one-size-fits-none formula cooked up to simplify paperwork and not to support actual people. So, if your doctor is still treating BMI like it's the final word on your health, it might be time to find one who can handle the full power of your physiology. Your physiology. Your physiology. Or at least one who knows there's more to health than a height-weight ratio. You deserve more than a label. You deserve a whole picture approach, one that honors your lived experience, your biology, your resilience, and your potential. So drop a comment below and tell me, have you ever been misjudged by your BMI? Did it affect your care, your self-worth, or your access to support? Let's talk about it. And if you want more evidence-based breakdowns that blend science, sass, and self-empowerment, hit that subscribe button and ring the bell so you don't miss a thing. Because this isn't about shrinking you down to fit a category. It's about rising up, reclaiming your story, and learning how to unveil the beautiful beast within you.